In the early hours of a quiet summer morning in June 2022, a chilling call reached emergency dispatchers in Detroit. A man, speaking in a hushed voice, said he believed he had just witnessed something terrible. From the second floor of his home, he had watched a white sedan stop outside. The trunk was open. Then came a scream, a woman's voice, desperate and terrified, calling out for help. Moments later, a loud sound echoed through the still night, and everything went silent. The caller recorded video from his window, capturing a shadowy figure moving around the car before driving away. He waited for police to arrive, but that night, no one came. The following afternoon, unable to shake what he had heard, the man decided to investigate the nearby vacant lot. Hidden among overgrown weeds, he found what he feared most. A young woman had lost her life. She had no identification with her, and investigators initially had little to go on. But through careful examination and distinctive tattoos, she was identified as 24-year-old Natala Morris, known affectionately by friends as Sparkles. Natala was remembered as outgoing, caring, and deeply loved by her family. Her sudden passing left them shocked and searching for answers. What had happened to her that night, and who was responsible? Investigators turned to technology for clues. Natala's car had been found burned several miles away, but inside her personal belongings, including her phone, were recovered. Her phone revealed a complex web of messages and contacts. Among them was a man she had frequently communicated with. Detectives questioned him, but evidence soon showed he had no involvement. However, another name stood out: Jonathan Lamont Welch. He had been in contact with Natala on the day she died, and more troubling, he already had a recent history of violent behavior. Just days before Natala's death, his longtime partner had reported a serious domestic assault, describing a frightening situation inside their home. Authorities had attempted to locate him, but he had disappeared. Now, investigators believed he might hold the key to solving Natala's case. As detectives dug deeper, a pattern began to form. Jonathan's behavior had grown increasingly unstable in the weeks leading up to the crime. His relationship with family members was strained. There had been escalating conflicts, accusations, and emotional turmoil. Yet despite these warning signs, he was eventually released on bond in the domestic assault case and ordered to stay at his parents' home. No one could have predicted how quickly events would spiral from there. On July 10, 2022, a second terrifying call reached emergency dispatchers. A woman whispered that she was trapped inside a home and feared for her life. Moments later, the call ended abruptly. Soon after, a neighbor called 911 after finding an injured woman at her doorstep, desperately trying to explain that a violent situation was unfolding nearby. Police rushed to the area, but chaos quickly took over. A house was on fire, gunshots were heard from inside, and officers were uncertain who was inside or who was still alive. In the midst of the confusion, a young child was safely rescued from the backyard, but the situation remained extremely dangerous. For hours, law enforcement surrounded the home. Smoke filled the air as flames spread inside. Occasional shots were fired from within, forcing responders to keep their distance. Then, after a tense standoff lasting several hours, a man emerged from the house. It was Jonathan Welch. He surrendered and was taken into custody. Inside the home, investigators made a devastating discovery. Multiple family members had lost their lives during the violent events. Authorities determined the fire had been intentionally set, likely to destroy evidence. As investigators reviewed evidence, they uncovered a shocking link. DNA analysis confirmed that Jonathan Welch was connected not only to the tragic events inside the house, but also to the earlier death of Natala Morris. The cases were now clearly connected. Detectives concluded that the violence had not been an isolated incident, but part of a disturbing escalation. Jonathan Welch was charged with multiple counts of murder, along with additional charges related to the standoff. In November 2023, he pleaded guilty. He was sentenced to decades in prison. For the families affected, the legal outcome brought some closure, but the loss remained immeasurable. Natala Morris is remembered by loved ones as a bright, caring young woman who had dreams for her future. and the tragedy serves as a sobering reminder of how quickly violence can escalate when warning signs go unaddressed. Cases like this leave behind difficult questions. Could the warning signs have been recognized sooner? Could lives have been saved? While justice was ultimately served, the impact of that summer in Detroit continues to be felt by those who loved the victims, and their stories are not forgotten.